Hi there, my name is Stevie P, and we're going to have some fun and try to do a guide on this fight against the Ghoul that you come across in Chapter 11, Haunted. I say some fun because I have not actually played this fight through many times, but somehow figured that I found a really nice way of defeating him with taking minimal damage and also with minimal ingredients as well, just to make it as uncomplicated as possible, showing you all of his vulnerable moments and how to optimize on them. So the ingredients that you really want in this fight are fire, which I've got on Cloud and with Aerith, and they principally are going to try to pressure the guy using magic, fire specifically, which is what he is vulnerable to. And then Tifa is going to pressure him using physical attacks. Cloud can actually kind of double, so he can do both, which is quite nice. But mainly, he's going to still focus on the magic, and Tifa is going to be your main person for putting physical pressure on him. And I've got parry on Tifa, just because it makes her very good at dodging his attacks. He does lots of area of effect attacks which are difficult to dodge, and he also does some physical attacks which are impossible to block. So that's the kind of setup, and you're mainly just going to learn to pressurize him with magic and then with physical attacks. Well, the other way around. But let's get straight to it. So we're starting the fight, and I've just gone right up to him. He throws these kind of little light bullets at you. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the middle of doing one of his first deadly and very quick moves, which is to strike the ground with his right hand. And as he goes up like that, his right hand is glowing. You just want to dodge out of the way. So, oof, like that. Just a nice quick dodge. Obviously, with parry, it's so easy, right? It's just delightful. Parry really gets you out of a lot of trouble. And you can play through this entire fight sometimes without needing to use a single curative spell if you do everything correct. So he's just struck the ground, and he puts this sort of purple-hued line across the ground, which then explodes, and you do not want to be anywhere in that line when it explodes, because that will be ouch. Okay, so it's gone off, and now we're going to just start physically attacking him. Now, he does this move called telekinesis. I think it's pretty much a given that he does this towards the start of the fight. So you can kind of rely on him doing this towards the start specifically. Now, what I'm going to use is Star Shower. You don't have to use it. It's quite time consuming, but it just does a nice amount of damage, which I like. And it's the first time that we're actually going to pressurize him. And as a general rule, I will say that when he starts doing telekinesis, if you start doing a physical attack of some kind, Star Shower, possibly Dive Kick or Braver with Cloud, then you will physically pressure him. You just need to do enough physical damage, I think, in order to physically pressurize him, and telekinesis is a good opportunity to do so. So let's do Star Shower. She should finish before he gets to actually finish his telekinesis attack. There are times that you have to dodge his telekinesis attack. For example, if you don't have a physical attack command at the ready because you just don't have ATB, then you need to attack him and know exactly when to dodge, and that's just difficult to tell. You only get that really with practice, but he sort of lunges downwards and you know that, okay, I better dodge out of the way because he's about to throw all this stuff at me using his telekinesis. So now he should be pressured. Let's just get out of tactical mode and double check. There we go, he is pressurized. Now, contrary to what you might think is the natural instinct, which is to attack, I'm not going to, because he's actually currently immune to physical attacks, which happens immediately after you pressurize him with physical attacks. He suddenly becomes immune to them. So what we're going to do now, he's currently pressured. He kind of does this funny thing where he recovers from his pressurized state, and he does a little wiggle. And when he does his little wiggle and the pressurized notice disappears from underneath the gauge, that is when you want to use a fire attack on him. So let's just watch. Okay, does his little kind of weird wiggle thing, and it's at this moment that you want to really immediately cast a fire attack on him, because what he's going to do normally, I think he almost always does this at the start of the fight, is he's going to charge towards whoever you've got controlled, which is why I'm controlling Tifa. And he'll come quite close and then try and land the blow with one of his claws, and that will do damage but also silence you, which is why I've not got any magic on Tifa, just because that if she does get hit, at least it's not the end of the world. So it's not a very deadly or dangerous attack, but there you go. You want to hit him with fire if you can. It doesn't always work because of all the paraphernalia, so I'm going to start dodging in this direction, and he's going to follow me, and as long as Aerith has got line of sight, then the fire should hit him. And at this stage, when he's charging through the air, and when you see him kind of slightly translucent like that, that is when you want to be attacking with magic to magically pressurize him. So to sum up so far, when he's doing telekinesis is when you want to physically pressurize and attack him. When he goes translucent like that, as long as he's still visible, that's when you want to be attacking him with magic to magically pressurize him, because he does go invisible, and then of course you can't attack him at all. So I'm just going to instruct a fire attack, which she's going to do right now, and then I am simply going to dodge out of the way. Let's see if she gets him. She got him! But did you see how close that was? She nearly didn't, because had he gone much further, then he would have rounded this corner, and she would not have been able to hit him with the spell. So sometimes it misses. If that happens, just know that's okay. If it does miss, then he's going to swing a couple of times, and hopefully swing and miss. If you're Tifa and you're parrying out of the way, that makes it almost impossible for him, which is great. And then he disappears into thin air. I'm only telling you in case it happens, because it might not happen this fight. He disappears into thin air, then you just wait for him to reappear, and you kind of just repeat. You dodge him, and if you've got an ATB with a fire on either Cloud or Aerith, then you use that to try to magically pressurize him. And the thing is that when he is magically pressurized, he's pressurized for a longer period of time. So we've actually got time now to use Focus Strike and Focus Thrust, or Fire if you've got it, to pressurize him as much as possible, both with physical and with magical attacks. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, one thing I should just quickly tell you is that, contrary to other boss fights, this guy is not debilitated when he's pressured. He continues to attack you. So that's just something to be aware of. When he sort of does that thing where it looks like he's powering up, he's actually getting these little bullets, like light bullets, to appear, I think. So I think I might have some little light bullets heading towards me in a second. Not sure. It's obviously I'm just trying to read his body language. But then he did that big strike on the ground, which isn't altogether nice, and you don't want to be in that. So Cloud is close by. Let's do Focus Thrust. Now he's going to do Piercing Scream. Okay, it might have been... So you see, because he's still doing attacks, you don't always know exactly what he's going to do. Now, Focus Thrust might mean that poor Cloud is going to get hit by Piercing Scream. Yeah, there you go. So Cloud did get hit. It's not the end of the world. I don't mind too much, because we're right up here now, and we're going to use Star Shower again, just as he begins telekinesis, and you're kind of getting an idea of the pattern. I think while he does telekinesis, hopefully Cloud will recover. If you get hit by that Piercing Scream, it doesn't last too terribly long, I think. Let's see how we go. Okay, so Tifa attacks, and that pressurized him. But unfortunately, he's now invulnerable, so you can't actually do any damage. So we're just going to try and do the same thing again. I'm just going to kind of run away. Just see if he's... Okay, so you see that wiggling thing that he does? It's kind of like he's wiggling upwards. And as soon as he's finished with that, we want to attack with a spell, basically. So, just to explain, he does that wiggling up thing. Now, sometimes, like at the beginning of the battle, he'll charge after you immediately. Other times, he'll do this instead. Phantasmic Flurry. Now, Phantasmic Flurry is actually kind of nicer. You want him to do that, because then you're not having to dodge with Tifa. However, it's that much more critical that you interrupt him, because if he manages to finish Phantasmic Flurry, then he conjures these two invisible arms that will go up to you or one of the others and grasp you. And when you're grasped in that clutch, he'll then perform a move that drains you of your MP. So it's just preferable to actually interrupt him, not just to stop him from doing that, but because it will also pressurize him. So I'm going to get Tifa to do a fira attack. Now you want to be doing fira rather than just normal fire, because it's more powerful and more likely to put him into a pressurized state. And if it comes from magic, then that means that he's going to be debilitated for even longer. Okay, so there you go. He is now pressurized again, and we're looking to be in quite a good position. I'm actually going to use Unbridled Strength to increase Tifa's chi level, and then I'm just going to attack him and attack him. Now, I am just conscious that we're a little bit kind of in a tricky spot here. If he does his attack on the ground, we're going to be hard-pressed to escape that. So I'm just watching out, and that's exactly what he's doing. Okay, boom, but we're kind of okay. Managed to get out of the way. Now he's going to do Piercing Scream. Hopefully we've got enough distance here. Yes, we have, which is great. Telekinesis. We're a little bit late to the show. Let's try Star Shower. Look at our health. We're so good that we can afford to take a couple of risks. So hopefully Star Shower will be enough to pressurize him again. And you're getting a good idea of the kind of pattern that we're following. So he actually got his telekinesis attack off, but it's not the end of the world because Cloud was blocking and I actually dodged forward and managed to avoid being hit. So that's fine, we're just going to keep on attacking. Okay, now he's become untargetable. That to me says he's moving into his next phase. I mean, I suppose another hint is the fact that he's lifted all of the furniture up into the air. So what he's going to do now in his next phase, which happens at about half health, is he does this move, creates these big balls of light that are kind of like moving mines, and they are an absolute nightmare to deal with. Now this is quite interesting. I haven't had a fight like this before. We've been doing so much damage, and I think a lot of that is thanks to Star Shower. It just does so much damage that we've not even staggered him during his first phase. Normally, with the tricks I've been showing you, you will be staggering him at some point, and then the damage that you do while he's staggered will be enough to move him to half health, or maybe just over half health, I'm not sure, where he moves into his next phase. And he's already done this move, which creates the light bombs that move around on the floor. It's called Bale Fire, I believe. Now what I do with Tifa, at the start of this second phase, he almost always does Piercing Scream and then Telekinesis. Almost always. You just have to keep watching because he might do something else. And so you just need to kind of watch out for exactly what he's doing. But good timing because Telekinesis and Tifa has just arrived and we've got ATB on Cloud and Aeris. So we're in a really good position to pressurize him with physical attack. Hopefully. There you go. You can kind of see from the way he staggers that he has been pressurized. Now, it's just so difficult to see, isn't it? So there's Cloud. Where is Aeris, I wonder? Let's just quickly jump over. Okay, she's over here. So what I'm going to do is, might be a little bit ambitious. Oh, that's actually perfect. So now he does that thing. He just kind of wiggles upwards. Now, he's either going to charge straight at Tifa, or he's going to do that phantasmic whatever it is, where he tries to conjure the two arms in the air. So, the phantasmic flurry, that's it. So let's just wait. Well, in fact, let's not wait. He's out of his pressurized state. He's recovered, which now means that we can try to pressurize him with magic. And that's why I wanted to check where she was. She's right here. So she can just do that attack straight away. He does Phantasmic Flurry. Let's run in and just see, because I have a feeling that that's going to be enough. Yeah, so that is enough to pressurize him. And now he's been pressurized by magic, which is fantastic. So whereabouts is Cloud? Is he joining the party? See, with all this obstruction, it's quite difficult to tell. Okay, there is Cloud. Perfect. So we can simply go ahead and use Focus Strike and Focus Thrust to try to pressurize him as much as possible. I mean, at this rate, with the amount of damage that we're just doing normally, with normal attacks, without him even being staggered, we might be able to just win the fight this way. Okay, so let's get Cloud to use Focus Thrust. I love how with Tifa, the Focus Strike also ups her ATB. It's really quite fantastic. Okay, he's gone into his ghostly form again. So just run out and kind of hide a little bit. What I'm going to do is just quickly jump over to Aeris because I want her to get a bit of ATB. It's not a big deal doing that. Okay, now I think let's double check. I mean, I think when he lands his stuff, at some point he might do Balefire, which is that's really annoying. There we go. So Balefire. So it's at this stage that really the tactics become quite simple. You just want to keep dodging. These bales of fire, I suppose is what they are, appear on the ground, and you just want to dodge left, right, and center. Now, as long as you're parrying with Tifa, if she does get hit by one of them, it will do about 200 damage. But I like just waiting until they're gone, because they're very annoying. So ideally, like right now he's doing telekinesis, I'm just going to basically wander around until I hear the sound of the telekinesis being completed, which I believe it has been now. She did get hit by one of the balefires, but as you can see, it wasn't that much of a problem. Now he's starting telekinesis, and we've got Cloud right there, so good opportunity. Let's use Braver on him, and hopefully that will do enough damage that, well, it might on its own pressurize him. But if it doesn't, we'll also just bring Tifa in to attack. There we go, and that's now put him into that translucent pressured state. So where is Aeris? Because she's the one that I want to be close to, so that we can, when he gets out of the pressurized state, there we go. He's out of it now. He's probably going to do Phantasmic Flurry. But let's not, we don't even need to wait. Sometimes, like I say, just watch out, because sometimes he doesn't do Phantasmic Flurry. Sometimes he'll just charge straight at you. But we should be in a good position now. So I'm going to do a fira attack on him, which should pressurize him straight away. And then I think really it's the end. Gonna get another chi level. Okay. Good example of how he changes it up, right? So the attack that we just did, he actually, I forget the name of the move, although I don't know if it actually named it. He just teleported himself, so the fire attack that Aerith didn't actually hit him. But this is why it's just good to let that ATB build up, so that they have got plenty. So I'm just going to attack with a fire attack. Now, that might even be enough to stagger him. What I'm going to do to just be really safe, because fire takes some time to get to him, I'm also going to cast fire, because I just really don't want him to get off, manage to finish his Phantasmic Flurry, because, you know, it creates those arms that I'd rather just avoid. So hopefully we'll interrupt him. And he's staggered. Now I'm going to just go ahead and say it's over for the guy. We got Chi level 3. So with Rise and Fall, and then Omni Strike, and then maybe an uppercut and a dive kick from Tifa, he is pretty much finished. So there's Rise and Fall, Omni Strike, and that was enough to defeat him. And it's pretty much worth pointing out that during that entire fight, we didn't have to heal once, and just have a look at their health. I mean, have we taken more than 100 damage? Yeah, so we have taken, okay, so we've taken a bit of damage on Cloud, we've taken some damage on Tifa as well, a couple of hundred. We're not talking about a lot of damage there. So that just shows you, when you understand how he works, you can absolutely obliterate him. The key is knowing when to use magic to pressurize him, and when to use physical attacks to pressurize him. Telekinesis, when he's doing that, is the perfect opportunity to use physical attacks. Don't ask me why, but there are a couple of weird glitchy things in this fight. So one time I remember that he was actually immune to physical attacks whilst he was doing his telekinesis move. If that kind of thing happens, just dodge away, just dodge and dodge. That's the benefit of having parry on Tifa, is that you can just dodge away when you are in doubt. Another time, I just did so much damage that he hadn't actually become staggered, but he reached his half health mark, but it did not trigger his second phase. Again, don't ask me exactly why that happens, it just does sometimes. Another thing that he does, and I forget the name of the move, he actually did it in this battle, but without the name of the move appearing above his head that I saw, which is where he disappears and then reappears somewhere, and he usually reappears, I think, fairly close to the character that you're controlling, and then he'll swipe at them with his claw. And again, if he hits you, it'll silence you. And if he just disappears, then what I do is I just spam the button to lock onto target. Because then as soon as he appears, you'll lock on and you'll know exactly where he is. And then you obviously know which way to dodge. And when he reappears, he'll generally still be in that translucent state where he's vulnerable to being pressured by magic. So it's good to try to get a fire off against him. That is as many tips and tricks as I can think of. I suppose just one other thing that's worth mentioning is that on Eris I have first strike materia, just so that she gets a chance at the beginning of the battle to get her ATB up. I just want her to be able to cast fire as quickly and as soon as possible. And it was good to see in that battle, we got to see how Cloud can double. So he can use fire to pressurize the enemy, but he can also use Braver to pressurize the enemy, either with magic or physical attacks. So I think that was a very well-rounded run through. You kind of got to see everything that the enemy does and all of the various different counters that you can use in order to get through the entire battle with very few ingredients and with absolutely minimal damage, and hopefully in a way that is quite fun as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions or feedback, please let me know. All the best, and bye for now.